Hey, Hannah.
Hey, John.
What's Owen Wilson's favorite video game? Wow.
Let's move away from lies and fears. Perhaps it's time to leave. Free from how you look or what they say. Like a lion runs wild through the wilderness. Free from showing off a living faith. Like the eagles flying high, dancing with the air. There's breath in your lungs to breathe. Say, God, take this mask away. You see, he won't let you stay. Living in hollow days.
So, welcome to Season 2. Both cameras are right there, so I hope that they're switching every time that I point. You will get sick. The cameraman is saying no. Brian, that's a good decision. So we are going to talk right now today about WoW. Once again, you might be wondering, didn't you guys do a segment on that just like a month and a half ago? You're astute. And also, you're a return viewer, so I like you. But
Welcome, new viewers.
We released that when we were excited about World of Warcraft, but now Classic is out, so we wanted to talk about it and our experiences, and I'm having a lot of fun. Derek, why don't you open? We were talking earlier. You said that you're enjoying it more than you thought you would.
Yeah, so I've been playing WoW Classic for a little bit now. I have a level 16 Dwarf Hunter. I know I'm a noob. I'm trying, guys. It's hard.
2 weeks in. 2 weeks in. And he's level 16.
So anyways,
Okay.
fair. So yeah, no, I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I was going to. There's just a lot of good things about it. Community aspects. You really need to rely on community or you will die quite frequently. So I'm just enjoying that, just chatting with people, grouping up, like the simple things you would think you would do all the time in an MMO. You actually have to do it now to accomplish stuff. So yeah, and just to go into positives if we want, I'm really liking each class seems very distinct. I feel like in modern day WoW, they kind of made all the classes very similar because they didn't want one person who's using one class to feel less than another class. Okay, the problem with that is all the classes seem so similar. In Classic WoW, every class has different class missions they have. I'm playing a hunter, so I had to go and actually do cool stuff. Like I had to tame 3 different pets in order to figure out how to tame, different things like that. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that.
Well, and it actually like matters.
Yes.
What pet you have, and they have different abilities. You know, you might want a boar for the charge at certain levels and different tasks, and there you go. For me, I'm a rogue. 2 weeks in, I'm level 45. I'm gonna hit 46 tonight. What? Excited? For those of you who are in the know, I'm going to run Moradon when we're done filming, and so I'm very excited about that. It's one of the best instances, in my opinion, of Classic WoW. I'd say Scarlet Monastery, Moradon, and Stratholme are my 3 favorites. So I played a lot of Scarlet Monastery. You were talking about community. One of my favorite things about Classic WoW is just that we have the opportunity, and it necessitates us playing with other people.
Yeah.
And so actually walking into a city and seeing, for whatever reason, it's always trade chat. It's never like the world channel. It's never the
Use
looking
the right
for
channels, people.
It's not the looking for group channel. It's someone walks into Stormwind or Ironforge, unless you're a horde, in which case you walk into wherever you go. I'm just kidding. I know it's Orgrimmar or Undercity. I just don't like talking about it. Anyway.
I thought you were just saying they just walk wherever they please.
That too.
Depends on the server.
But you walk into a city and you just go into trade chat, and I'm just like, what if you actually want to trade? Because it's just full of like looking for tank, Stratholme, good to go. It's like,
why didn't they do that in trade chat?
I don't know.
Welcome to Classic WoW.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like they're not offering money usually. So sometimes they do. They will be like, I love seeing like a level 60 saying, gonna carry you through dead mines, 5 gold. And they'll just run you through it. Yeah, it's great. But the community, it like I said, it necessitates that. Like you were saying, every class isn't the same. As a rogue, I have a lot of what we call like oh crap buttons, where I can save myself, I can vanish, I can disappear, I can do different things if I have too many mobs attacking me, but not every class has that. You know, paladins, they now that we're in classic, they can bubble hearth again. So they have this bubble that makes them immune to damage, and then they can hearth, because I think the bubble lasts like 12 seconds and the hearth takes 10 seconds to cast. So if you jump a paladin, if you jump a paladin in world PvP, they can just throw up the bubble, and then for 10 seconds you're trying to stop them, but they're just like ha 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 ha, and then they disappear.
That exact animation too.
Yeah, it is. It's like this. It's great. Well,
I mean, you're talking about the community being such a big thing. I'm Derek, you were saying you're such a noob. I mean, I haven't even created a character yet. So, but just by watching people play, it's been really obvious to me just how distinct this game is and how much it does point towards that community aspect. Whereas a lot of games you could very easily just play alone.
Yeah.
But it's liked.
Yeah. Like modern day WoW, you can just literally play by yourself.
Yep. Well, with things like looking for group and looking for raid in modern day WoW, you just the ability to stand around, be in any zone, doing whatever you want, just get teleported to a dungeon. When you're done, get teleported back. Like, I get it. I think that it caters very well to a more casual playstyle, which I don't have a problem with. And that's why I think that the best solution is what they've done now, where they have classic and they have retail. And I think they should keep both.
And you can choose. And
exactly.
All for the same subscription.
Exactly.
Good on you, Blizzard.
I think that is the best call, and I want to see them maintain that. We were talking earlier that we don't think that even Blizzard knew just how many people were going to want to play this game. We server hopped twice before the game released. We were on Harad, then we switched to Stalag, and then literally the day before launch, we switched to another server that I'm not going to say because this is the internet and things are forever. But we went to a third server and ended up being a great decision. But we still have had queues for the last 2 weeks. But they're nowhere near the queues. Like Harad had 20,000 player queues throughout the entire first week, and they're still insane. Faralina has the same amount, being the big streamer server on the West Coast.
People literally waiting for hours.
Hours and hours
Isn't
and hours.
Faralina the streamer server?
Yeah, on the West Coast. Yep.
Which was a good reason not to go on that, because everyone's trying to be on the streamer server.
Because you knew that people were going to be there, so you knew it was going to have a lot of queues. But that goes to show how many people wanted this product, and I think how many people are going to stick around. I mentioned in the last video that I'm running a guild. I don't remember the number that I gave at that time, but in game we have 130 people. And it's just like we all get along. We're in it for the same reasons. We're looking forward to the same things. Almost every dungeon that I've been running, and like I said, Scarlet Monastery, I played for like 6 or 7 levels straight. Most of those groups have been with people in my guild. I've done a few pugs where I've just found random people to join us, but getting to know people on the server and someone you encounter at level 15, even if like they're in the opposing faction, seeing them again 27 levels later.
There's that one who got me.
It's amazing. Yeah. I love it. I love it so much. So why don't you talk about some of the things maybe you don't like?
Sure. So slight positive in the quest, you actually have to read the quest now because it doesn't show you exactly where to go on the map. So part of that's fun because you're actually trying to find stuff. The negative side of that is there are a few quests that are so hard to find that you almost have to go to a guide or ask around for help. Also, the way that the zones are laid out, it's not as intuitive as modern day WoW. So you have to zone hop, you have to do different things. You get to a certain level and you're like, I can't do this content anymore. I need to go and find another zone. Yeah. And so stuff like that's kind of frustrating to deal with. So yeah.
I would say like, just from what I've seen, it's yes, it has that like nostalgic factor, like this is what it was 15 years ago, but those same people are choosing to have add-ons and things that are going to make it better. So even though it's nice, it does come with a cost. And yeah, he has add-ons.
Wow, she called you out.
Called out by my wife.
How classic is your classic?
Hey, you raised your hand.
To be fair, I only grabbed the add-ons that I also used in vanilla because they are amazing. Titan Panel, not a sponsor, but get it because it's like the best add-on the game has. It's just utility. It just organizes information for you. Yeah. It's not questing, I swear.
Okay. I promise I'm not cheating.
But it gives me like durability, repair costs, thrown ammo, gold, all that kind of stuff, just in a little tiny bar across the top of the screen.
Yeah, like
so I don't have to open a bunch of windows to check
deal
things,
with
that's
the
all.
things that like you're talking about aside from the quest content, but like just to organize the stuff that has probably, I'm guessing, been cleaned up in retail.
To some extent, yeah.
For the most part. They've redone the quest structure for most zones in modern day WoW, so you can like level throughout an entire zone.
Well, and it'll carry you from zone to zone a lot more organically.
Yeah.
And if you ever get to a point where you maybe say you leave the game for a month and you can't remember what you were doing, there's all kinds of areas where you can go, and it'll be like, go to this zone, here's a quest to send you there. So it definitely holds your hand a lot more in helping you stay plugged in, which I don't think is a bad thing. Again, it's just a different experience.
Yeah. And I think for me, I'm enjoying it. I already know I'm not going to be able to stick with it just because I don't have enough time. And it does take forever to level, takes a long time. And I'm kind of stuck between, I'm kind of in a level drought here where I have to grind or I have to run dungeons several times in order to keep leveling up till I can get to new content. And stuff like that's a little less appealing when I have tons of other stuff to do. So I'm enjoying the experience, but that is one thing I do like about modern day WoW. It kind of takes you, the leveling experience is a little easier to do, but it's not as meaningful. Back to classic WoW, everything you do is meaningful. Like,
Well, and you mentioned to see where you have to go, you actually have to read the quest, which means you're actually getting the lore. And I remember a lot of people saying that, every quest in classic WoW is grab 10 fangs or kill 5 boars or this or that. But there's a lot of quest lines that are full of story.
interesting, yeah.
Yeah, that you just bounce around all over the place doing things, and you forget about that when you're just in the grind. If you wanted to speed up your leveling, make sure you're always logging out in a city or an inn.
Tips by John.
At level
Rest in
16, if you run Dead Mines
experience.
twice, I guarantee you'll level, and that's just 2 dungeons, man. It's gonna be okay.
Thanks, boss.
John's
John's my guild leader. Thank you.
I am.
Have you seen
I'm not
any-
even the first person. We had our first person hit 60 2 days ago.
Yeah.
A week and a half after launch, and
That's
we
awesome.
had our
That's
first
really cool.
person hit 60. Yeah.
It's stuff like that that's really cool. Like
Right.
with the relaunch of WoW, like who's getting the first in this? Who's gonna kill the boss in the dungeon? Yeah, so that's cool that that's happening.
You were gonna say something?
Have you seen it any like different from what you remember 15 years ago? Like
good
it's
question.
supposed to be the same thing, but
The
did
game
they
or the
change it at
community?
all?
The game? They've done a fantastic job. So one thing to note is it's patch 1.12, so it's not the game as it was when it launched. It's the game as it was a few months later. They did a lot of patches where they balanced classes. Like before 1.12, which was the big class balance patch, which is why they went with that one. Warlocks were terrible. Sorry, they were really underpowered. And when they rebalanced the classes, they overhauled some of the talent trees. Warlocks really came into their own and became a lot better. And so it doesn't feel like the game did on day 1, but it feels like the game did on like day 200. Which is still less than halfway through vanilla. So it's very much, I really haven't noticed anything different. It's been a very, I can't think of the word, faithful recreation of vanilla, I would say.
Good job, Blizzard.
Yeah, good job.
Good job on you.
We've been talking about community a lot, and I think that's really the faith point we wanted to hit on. And I apologize to the sound guys. That microphone has been pointing away from me for a while now.
Thank you.
And we're like 13 minutes in. I guarantee you, it's been driving someone nuts for 13 minutes. And I've just not looked down. And I'm sorry.
We love our editors. Thank you very much.
We've been talking about community, and that's what we want to touch on. Is as a body of believers, right? A body of people, we believe strongly in community here in the church. And Derek, you had this verse in Galatians chapter 6. Verses 2 and 3, share each other's burdens, and then in this way, obey the law of Christ. If you think you are too important to help someone, you are only fooling yourself. You are not that important. I want to take that last bit right there and make it the guild message of the day. If you think you are too important to help someone, you are only fooling yourself.
That's the New Living Translation. I like how they put how Paul writes it, like, hey, God loves everyone. You are important to him. But if you think you're better than someone else, there's something wrong.
Yeah, you're dumb. I like that. It's like you're fooling yourself. You are not that important. But it makes a good point. It's like you are important, but you're not so important that you're above other people, which I think is great because it lifts some people up and it holds some people here who would otherwise feel like they deserve something more. And so it really evens the playing field.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that I really want to see the most in the church in the United States is people being okay with being on a level playing field. Because that is where loving your neighbor is lived out, I think. It's not a bunch of people thinking that they're better than someone else or that a certain group of people are less than. It's like, no, we're all messed up. We've all fallen short. You know, the Bible says these things. We've all sinned. And so it's about coming alongside each other, not just saying like, hey guys, look at me. I know the way. Let's go. It's like, I don't want people to follow me, right? I want people to come alongside me as we all together follow Christ.
Yeah, and I think a lot of Christians fall into the trap of saying, well, I do love people regardless of who they are or how poor they are, or what they look like, or what they believe. But then if it's like, for example, an outreach, they can very easily slip into the mindset of, well, I'm this savior, I'm better because I'm doing this for you kind of thing, when that's not the case. I mean, we're just as broken. We just have found God.
And I like the first part of that. It's just share each other's burdens. And it's this assumption in the Bible, which is true, that we need people. Yeah. God made us for community. We need people to help us out. Like in WoW Classic, you know, if you accidentally grab a second mob, like you're probably gonna get killed. You know, there are certain places that you need help. You know, hey, I need some help to finish this quest. And applying that to real life, we need people in our lives to help us with our goals in life, just to help us just live life and encourage us. And people need us to do the same thing. And to your point earlier, John, my mom gave me a really cool life lesson. She was like, when I was growing up, she would always tell me, Derek, you are no better than anyone else, and no one is better than you. So always keep that in mind. And my mom lives that out. She doesn't care if you're the president, the prime minister, the pastor. She will treat you the same as anyone else that she comes across. And that was a great lesson for me to learn, to make sure I treat people equally with equal care, no matter what position they hold. Or how popular they might be in school, or, you know, we have so many motives behind how we treat people, and God's constantly, you are supposed to help people, and people are supposed to help you. And I think sometimes that second thing is the hardest for us to do, ask for help when we need it. So.
Yeah. I think in the context of video game, it's very common to see people who feel like they carry a guild, or they carry a dungeon party, or they, maybe on the flip side, they feel like they aren't worthy of being in a guild because people are going to make fun of them because they struggle with the controls, or they're a newbie, or things like that. They feel like they can't carry their weight. But the important thing is being accepting and being patient. I mean, one of the fruits of the Spirit is patience and kindness, or that's two of them. But, and a lot of it has to do with the way that we interact with people.
Well, and I think one of the fruits of the Spirit that speaks to that as well, that I feel like it doesn't get enough attention, gentleness. I think that it's really telling that kindness is different than gentleness, and that you can be speaking truth into someone, you can exhort someone and be gentle. And I think that that's really, really important. A lot of Christians do a good job of speaking truth and a good job of helping and doing a lot of other things. But the one that I'd say they struggle with a lot is gentleness, is how to be gentle when you're correcting someone, which is a lesson that I've had to learn in my life, and I'm still learning. I'm not the most gentle person. I need to be more gentle. Yeah, Gentleness, big deal. I don't care if I have to carry someone in the guild, right? Just like if I was struggling, I would want them to step up and help me.
Gentleness in a world of Warcraft.
That's how I've been leading this guild. I'll tell you what, it's working. It's working. It builds community. It builds community because people feel cared for.
It builds community, and it makes the game more fun when you're the type of guy or girl that goes out and helps people and who's willing to ask for help. And it makes life more fun as well. Again, when you're living life and you're just doing it for yourself, or you're not caring about other people, or not asking for help, you feel isolated, you feel alone. And again, God didn't make us to be that way. We need community, we need God, and we need other people. And we shouldn't be ashamed to ask for help, and we shouldn't be hesitant to give help when people need it. So.
Definitely. I think that is a fantastic point to end on. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Hannah. Play WoW. It's a lot of fun.
If you haven't played it, you are not prepared.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you are not prepared. I didn't feed her that line. She knew it. I'm proud of you. See you guys next week.
It's getting worse and worse. Like the level, the standard just keeps going out.
That was a really bad impression, too. As soon as it came out, I was embarrassed. So I was like,
you should be.
I should have done that one. That one was so much better.
Wow. Can I always do it again?
Well, yeah.